Picture this. Two brothers, a sunny afternoon, and an old forgotten farm. It sounds like the start of a classic adventure, right? For Mike and Steve, it was supposed to be just that. They were exploring, laughing, reminiscing about their childhood, completely unaware that they were walking on a death trap. One moment, they're on solid ground. The next, the earth just disappears. A gut-wrenching crack, a scream, and then darkness. They had plummeted 18 meters, nearly 60 feet, into the cold, black heart of an abandoned well. The impact was brutal. Mike landed hard, his ankle screaming in protest. Steve wasn't much better, his body battered and bruised. Disoriented, they took a moment to assess the situation. They were at the bottom of a cylindrical tomb with slick, moss-covered brick walls stretching up towards a small circle of daylight that seemed 1,000,000 miles away. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. Panic began to set in. How could this happen? They were just walking, but the reality was grim. They were trapped. Instinct kicked in. "Are you okay?" Mike gasped, trying to push himself up. Steve groaned in response. "I think so. You?" Before Mike could answer, a new, more terrifying sound reached their ears. The slow, steady drip, drip, drip of water. And it wasn't just dripping. A small but determined trickle was seeping in from the base of the well. The water level, already ankle-deep, was rising. A new kind of fear, cold and insidious, began to creep in. They had survived the fall, but now they were in a race against a rising tide. Steve fumbled for his phone, his heart pounding in his chest. His screen was cracked, but it lit up. A wave of relief washed over them, but it was short-lived. No signal. Of course, why would there be a signal at the bottom of an 18-meter hole in the middle of nowhere? The small glimmer of hope was extinguished as quickly as it had appeared. They were utterly alone. No one knew where they were. The farm was deserted, miles from the nearest road. Yelling was useless. Their shouts were swallowed by the deep, dark well. Despair was a heavy blanket, threatening to smother them. As the hours ticked by, the situation grew more dire. The water, fed by an underground spring, had risen to their waists. It was shockingly cold, seeping into their bones and draining their body heat at an alarming rate. Hypothermia was now a very real, very immediate threat. Shivering uncontrollably, they huddled together for warmth, their teeth chattering. Every minute felt like an hour, every hour felt like an eternity, The sun set, plunging their prison into absolute blackness, leaving them with nothing but the sound of the endlessly rising water and their own ragged breaths. Sleep was impossible. The cold was too intense, the fear too sharp. They had to stay awake, had to keep moving, had to fight the lethargy that was creeping over them. Mike's ankle throbbed with a dull, persistent ache. Steve, seeing his brother struggle to stand, knew they couldn't just wait to drown. They had to do something. Their minds raced, desperately searching for a solution. Any solution. How do you escape a vertical prison with sheer walls when you're injured, freezing and exhausted? Then, an idea sparked in Steve's mind. It was crazy, maybe even stupid, but it was something. He remembered seeing old rusted pipes and bits of metal debris at the bottom of the well when they first fell. He explained his plan to Mike. Using Steve's shoelaces and a strip of fabric torn from his own shirt, they would try to tie a piece of metal to Mike's belt. The idea was to create a makeshift grappling hook. It was a long shot, a desperate prayer hurled into the darkness. Working in the freezing, chest-deep water was agonizing. Their fingers were numb, clumsy, and weak. It took them what felt like hours to secure the knot. Then came the next challenge, throwing it. Steve took the makeshift hook. He aimed for a thick root he'd spotted earlier, dangling tantalizingly just below the well's opening. His first throw missed, and the second, and the third. Each failure was a blow to their dwindling morale. The water was at their chests now, making it harder to breathe, harder to move. They were running out of time. With a final, desperate surge of adrenaline, Steve threw again. This time, it caught. The rope went taut, a fragile, trembling connection to the world above. But it was just a shoelace. It would never support a man's weight. The hope was that it could help them climb just a few feet, to find a handhold, a ledge, anything. But as Mike put the slightest bit of weight on it, the root groaned and dirt rained down. It wouldn't work. The plan had failed. The crushing weight of defeat settled over them. They had given it their all, and it wasn't enough. Now the water was up to their necks. They were forced to tread water, their movements sluggish, their energy almost completely gone. This was it. They spoke to each other, their voices weak and raspy. They said the things brothers leave unsaid, words of love and regret, their final goodbyes echoing in the dark. They had been trapped for over 30 hours. They had fought with everything they had, but the well was relentless. They closed their eyes, ready for the end. And then a sound. Faint at first, a voice. They thought they were hallucinating, their oxygen-starved brains playing tricks on them. But then it came again, louder this time, a shout from above. "Hello, is anyone down there?" Hope, so powerful it was painful, surged through them. They screamed, a raw, primal cry for help, using the last of their strength. A light pierced the darkness, a blinding beam from a flashlight. A face appeared at the top of the well. It was a local farmer who had noticed their car parked by the old property for too long and came to investigate. Rescue was a blur. Ropes were lowered. Harnesses were secured around their shivering bodies. The ascent was slow, agonizing. When they were finally pulled out onto solid ground, they collapsed, gasping the fresh, clean air. They had been in that well for 31 hours. Medics rushed in, wrapping them in thermal blankets, treating their injuries. They had survived. Against all odds, through sheer will and a little bit of luck, they had escaped the impossible. Their story is a chilling reminder of how quickly a normal day can turn into a fight for your life, and a testament to the incredible strength of the human spirit. Thanks for watching our story today. If you found this as incredible as we did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more impossible survival stories. We'll see you in the next one.